Hi, I'm artist Medha and welcome to Medha Art Studio. This video is about how, when and why to varnish your acrylic paintings. Varnishing in acrylics can be a little tricky, so this video is loaded with tips throughout, so make sure you watch it till the end. One of the most common questions is, do I need to varnish my acrylic painting and why? The answer is yes. If you plan to keep or sell your painting, you definitely need to varnish it so it lasts long. There are three reasons why you need to. One is to protect your painting from dust, dirt, abrasion and UV rays. To boost color vibrancy and saturation as acrylics dry dull, especially the darker acrylics. To give it an even sheen, as different acrylic colors when dry dry at a different matte or glossiness. So to give it an even sheen, you need to varnish it so it looks even and cohesive. When to varnish is the next question. The answer is there is a difference between dry to touch and curing. Acrylics dry very quickly, so within a matter of an hour it could be dry to touch, but you need to let it cure before you varnish it. So if it's a regular painting, not too many textures or not very thick paint, you need to wait for at least 3 days before you varnish it. And if it's something with a lot of texture and heavy paint, thick paint, it's a good idea to wait a few weeks, like let's say up to a month. What happens is, if you don't wait for it to cure and just start varnishing while it's dry to touch, there's a very good chance that the painting might smear as you apply the varnish. What material is needed for varnishing? You will need a varnish, a brush and a disposable bowl or a plate to pour the varnish in. For the varnish, I will suggest a glossy permanent varnish by Liquitex. They have a variety of mediums and varnishes, so make sure you pick the glossy varnish and not the glossy medium. For the brush, you can either use a designated clean synthetic soft brush or a craft sponge brush that you use for craft. I prefer the sponge since it doesn't shed like a brush and also is cheap to replace if needed. And regardless of which one you use, you need to wash and dry both with soap and water between every coat of varnish. Otherwise the varnish will dry on it and it will get hard. And never use the brush for any other thing, like not to paint or anything. It should just be used for varnishing. The next question is how to varnish. Varnish can be tricky as it dries fast and can get cloudy if overworked. So practice varnishing on a rough painting first, get the hang of it, and then move on to the good one, so you don't ruin your painting that you have worked so hard on. Make sure your cured painting and the working area is clean and dust free. Lay the painting flat on table, not upright on an easel. Like James Bond's martini, varnish should be stirred but not shaken. You can lightly roll the bottle on a table to stir it and not cause bubbles to form in there. Pour it into a disposable bowl or a dish. It is ready to use as is. You don't need to dilute it with water or anything else. Starting from one side, keep your stroke in one direction, either vertical or horizontal. Apply a thin coat from one end to the other. Varnish dries fast and gets cloudy if overworked. So try to get even coverage in 1 or 2 passes and don't touch that area later. Every next stroke should slightly overlap the previous stroke till you have the entire painting covered. And important thing to remember is if you notice an area you missed, don't go back. The second coat will cover it up later. Let it dry flat for minimum 3 hours or more before you apply the second coat. Clean your brush with soap and water after every use. If you have painted the edges of your canvas, then you need to paint the adjacent edges simultaneously with every stroke and in every coat that you apply. Minimum 2 coats of varnish are required. If your painting looks evenly coated and with an even sheen, then you can stop after 2 coats. Apply a third coat in opposite direction if needed. Maximum of 4 coats should give you a good coverage. Let the final coat dry for 3 to 4 hours or overnight would be the best before you hang it and frame it and put it on the wall. If you have any other questions, do leave a comment below. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified for my next video. And until we meet again, keep smiling and keep painting.